The words sliced through the restaurant's warm chatter like a blade. "You're both dead when we get home." But the little girl didn't know that the man in the corner booth had ended kings for less. Celeste's hands shook as she reached for her water glass, the ice rattling like her bones. Across the table, her daughter Lily sat frozen, her chicken fingers untouched, her small body pressed as far back into the vinyl booth as physics would allow. The child's eyes were locked on the man beside her, the man Celeste had married 2 years ago. In a moment of desperation she relived every single day. Derek's face was still red, his jaw clenched so tight she could see the muscle jumping beneath his skin. He'd been angry since they left the house. Angry about the parking spot. Angry about the wait time. Angry about Lily accidentally knocking over her lemonade, which had started this whole thing. The waitress had rushed over with towels and smiles, but Derek's fury had only grown, fed by the attention, by the perceived judgment of strangers watching him deal with his family. "You're both dead when we get home." He'd said it quietly, almost conversationally, as he sawed into his steak. Said it like he was commenting on the weather. That was the worst part. Not the volume, but the cold certainty in his voice. Celeste forced herself to take a sip of water, forced her face into neutral pleasantness, the mask she'd perfected over 26 months of survival. She wanted to grab Lily and run. She wanted to scream. But she'd learned that resistance made it worse, that the best thing she could do was keep him calm in public and then take whatever came later, position herself between his fists and her daughter. She was so focused on managing Derek's mood that she didn't notice the man in the corner watching them. Lucien had been alive for over 800 years, and he'd chosen the small family restaurant specifically because it was ordinary. Unremarkable. The kind of place where he could sit among humans and observe the simple rhythms of mortal life without the weight of his crown, his court, his endless responsibilities. He didn't eat the food, of course, but he ordered it, moved it around his plate, played the part. Lately, he'd felt the numbness creeping deeper. Decades would pass, and he'd realize he'd felt nothing at all. No joy. No sorrow. Just the cold weight of eternity. He came to places like this hoping to remember what it had been like to be human, to feel warmth, connection, hope. Mostly he just felt further away. Then he heard the little girl's whimper. It was so quiet, barely a sound at all. But his senses were sharp, honed by centuries, and he caught it. He looked up from his untouched burger and saw them. A woman, dark circles under her eyes, shoulders curved inward like she was trying to disappear. A child, maybe 6, with curls escaping a crooked ponytail and fear written in every line of her small body. And a man whose rage filled the space around him like poison. "You're both dead when we get home." The vampire's entire body went still. Not the stillness of calm, but the stillness of a predator locked onto prey. His hand, resting on the table, slowly curled into a fist. He had heard men make threats before. Had heard violence promised and delivered across centuries, across continents, in 1,000 different languages. But there was something about the child's fear, the mother's defeated silence, the casual cruelty in the man's voice that reached into the frozen center of Lucien's chest and twisted. The little girl's eyes darted around the restaurant, silently begging someone to notice, to help. For just a moment, her gaze landed on Lucien. And something in him that had been dormant for decades roared to life. He didn't look away. He held the child's eyes, and though she couldn't possibly understand what he was, some instinct made her breathing slow just a fraction. He gave her the smallest nod. So small her mother didn't notice. So small the angry man sawing his steak didn't see. But the little girl saw. And for the first time since they'd sat down, Lily felt something besides fear. She felt hope. Derek threw his napkin onto his plate and stood abruptly, the motion sharp enough to make both Celeste and Lily flinch. That flinch, that synchronized recoil of mother and daughter, told Lucien everything he needed to know about what happened behind closed doors. I'm going to the restroom. When I get back, we're leaving. And you better have that kid under control." He didn't wait for a response. Just walked away, his boots heavy on the tile floor. The moment he disappeared around the corner, Celeste exhaled a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Her hand shot across the table to grip Lily's small fingers. "I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. We just need to keep him calm, okay? When we get home, you go straight to your room and stay quiet. Can you do that for Mommy?" Lily nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Are we really dead, Mama?" The question shattered what was left of Celeste's composure. She opened her mouth to lie, to reassure, to do what she'd been doing for 2 years, minimize and pretend and survive. But the words wouldn't come. That's when the shadow fell across their table. Celeste looked up and her breath caught. The man standing beside their booth was tall, impossibly tall, dressed in dark clothes that looked expensive even to her untrained eye. But it was his face that stopped her heart. Beautiful in a way that didn't seem quite human. Sharp cheekbones, pale skin, eyes so dark they looked black in the restaurant's dim lighting. And those eyes were fixed on her with an intensity that made her feel seen for the first time in years. "Forgive the intrusion." Lucien's voice was quiet, controlled, but it carried a weight that made the air feel heavier. "I couldn't help but overhear your situation." Celeste's instinct was immediate. Deny. Deflect. Protect the secret. "We're fine." "Thank you." "We're just fine." "No." The single word was soft but absolute. "You're not." Lily stared up at the stranger with wide eyes, her child's intuition sensing something different about him, something safe despite his intensity. Lucien lowered himself into the booth across from them, uninvited but somehow not unwelcome. He moved with a grace that was almost liquid, and when he settled into the seat, his attention turned fully to Celeste. "You don't know me. You have no reason to trust me. But in approximately 90 seconds, that man is going to come back to this table, and you're going to leave with him, and those words he said will become reality." "How do you?" "I've lived a very long time. I know cruelty when I see it." His eyes flicked to Lily, and when he looked at the child, something in his expression softened. "I also know innocence. And I know that what's happening to you, to her, is wrong." Celeste felt her throat tighten. Strangers didn't intervene. Strangers looked away. She'd learned that lesson over and over. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I'm offering you a choice." Lucien leaned forward slightly, and Celeste caught a scent she couldn't place, something like night air and cedar and old things. "Leave with me. Right now. Both of you. I can take you somewhere he will never find you. Somewhere you'll be safe." The offer was insane. Dangerous. Everything she taught herself screamed that this was another trap, another man offering salvation that would turn into a different kind of prison. But then Lily's small voice broke through. "Mama, I'm scared to go home." And Celeste felt the foundation of her denial crack wide open. "I don't know you." Her voice shook. "I don't know anything about you. You could be worse than him. You could be. I could be." Lucien didn't look away, didn't soften the truth. "You're right to be afraid. Right to question. But look at me and tell me what you feel." Against every instinct for self-preservation, Celeste met his eyes. Really looked. And what she saw there wasn't hunger or violence or the twisted need for control she'd learned to recognize in Derek. What she saw was old pain. Deep loneliness. And beneath that, something fierce and protective that made her chest ache. "Who are you?" she whispered. "Someone who has lived long enough to know that some moments change everything. This is one of them. When he comes back, you can leave with him or you can leave with me. But you cannot stay in the middle and hope things will improve. They won't. How do you know? Because men like him don't change. They only escalate. Lucien's jaw tightened. And I will not sit in this restaurant and watch him walk you and your daughter toward a promise of violence. Before Celeste could respond, she saw Derek's shape emerge from the hallway. Her entire body went rigid. Decide. Lucien's voice was calm, but urgent. Now. Celeste looked at Lily. Looked at her baby girl's tear-stained face and trembling hands. Thought about going home. Thought about the words. You're both dead when we get home. Thought about how many times she told herself it would get better, he'd calm down, she just needed to manage it better. Thought about the fact that she'd stopped believing her own lies. She grabbed Lily's hand and looked at the beautiful stranger with the impossible offer and the ancient eyes. Okay. One word. Barely a breath. But it changed everything. Lucien stood in one fluid motion and extended his hand. Come. Quickly. What the hell is this? Derek's voice cut through the restaurant, loud enough to turn heads. He was striding toward them, face contorted with fury. Who the hell are you? Lucien turned to face him, and though Derek was a big man, broad-shouldered and aggressive, he seemed to shrink in the vampire's presence. I'm the interruption to your evening. And the end of your access to them. Derek's face went purple. Celeste, get up. We're leaving. Now. But Celeste was already sliding out of the booth, pulling Lily with her, positioning herself behind the stranger who'd appeared out of nowhere. She was shaking so hard she thought she might collapse, but she didn't let go of her daughter's hand. You don't get to speak to her anymore. Lucien's voice dropped lower, and there was something in it that made Derek take an involuntary step backward. You don't get to frighten her. You don't get to threaten a child. What you get is one chance to walk away and be grateful I'm feeling merciful. Derek's hand shot out to grab Celeste's arm, but Lucien moved faster than should have been possible. One moment he was still, the next his hand was locked around Derek's wrist, stopping the movement cold. The restaurant had gone quiet. Everyone was watching now. Touch her again, Lucien said softly, and you'll learn that there are things in this world far more dangerous than your fists. For just a second, Derek looked into Lucien's eyes, and what he saw there drained the color from his face. Some primal part of his brain recognized a predator so far above him on the food chain that his body froze in instinctive terror. Lucien released him with a slight push that sent Derek stumbling backward. Then he turned, placed one hand gently on Celeste's back, and guided her and Lily toward the door. And for the first time in 2 years, Celeste walked out of a room without asking permission. Behind them, Derek stood frozen among the staring diners, his threat empty, his power shattered. And watching from the doorway, Lily looked up at the strange man who'd saved them and whispered, "Thank you." Lucien looked down at the child, and felt something he hadn't felt in a century. Purpose. The night air hit Celeste like cold water, shocking her system into awareness. What had she done? She just left a restaurant with a complete stranger. Grabbed her daughter and walked out of her life based on 90 seconds of conversation with a man whose last name she didn't even know. The panic set in halfway across the parking lot. Wait. She stopped walking, pulling Lily closer. Wait, I can't. I don't. This is insane. I don't even know your name. Lucien turned to face her, patient but alert. His eyes scanned the restaurant entrance, tracking whether Derek would follow. My name is Lucien. And you're right. This is insane. But go back in there and tell me what happens next. Celeste's mind raced. I have things at the house. Lily's stuffed rabbit. Our documents. My mother's ring. I can't just. I can retrieve them. Or replace them. But if you go back, even to pack, do you believe he'll let you leave? The truth sat heavy in her chest. No. Then the choice is already made. But I don't know you. You could be anyone. You could be dangerous. A bitter smile crossed Lucien's face. I am dangerous. Extremely. But not to you. How can I possibly know that? You can't. Lucien's honesty was almost cruel in its directness. You're running from one unknown into another. The only difference is you already know what he'll do. You don't know what I will. Lily tugged on her mother's sleeve, her voice small. Mama, he feels different. He feels safe. Celeste looked down at her daughter, the child who'd developed instincts no 6-year-old should have, who'd learned to read danger in the set of shoulders and the tone of voice. Sweetheart, we can't just go with strangers. Then let me give you certainty about one thing. Lucien crouched down so he was eye level with Lily, his movement careful, non-threatening. Little one, look at me. Can you do that? Lily met his dark eyes. I'm going to make you a promise. No one will hurt you again. Not him. Not anyone. Do you believe me? Lily studied his face with the seriousness of a child who'd been forced to grow up too fast, then nodded slowly. Lucien stood and returned his attention to Celeste. I have a home 20 minutes from here. It's large. Private. You and your daughter can have your own space. Lock on the door. Food. Safety. Stay one night. In the morning, if you want to leave, I'll drive you anywhere you want to go. Women's shelter. Police station. Another city entirely. Your choice. But right now, standing in this parking lot, you need to make a decision. Where do you live? What do you do? Why are you helping us? The questions poured out of Celeste's mouth, each one a desperate attempt to make sense of the impossible situation. I live in the estate at the edge of Blackwood Forest. I'm independently wealthy. And I'm helping you because I can, and because the alternative is unacceptable to me. None of that is a real answer. No. It isn't. Lucien's expression was unreadable. But it's all I can offer you right now. Trust isn't built in a parking lot. It's built in time. I'm asking you for one night. A chance to prove I'm what I say I am. And what's that? Someone who won't hurt you. The restaurant door burst open and Derek stormed out, scanning the parking lot. When his eyes locked on them, his face twisted with rage. Celeste. Get over here right now. Celeste felt her body respond before her mind could catch up, that terrible conditioning that made her want to obey, to placate, to prevent the explosion. But Lily's hand tightened in hers. Please, Mama. Please don't make me go back. And that small, terrified voice cut through everything else. Lucien positioned himself between them and Derek, who was closing the distance with heavy, angry strides. Last chance. Lucien's voice was quiet. My car is the black sedan, 3 spaces over. It's unlocked. Get in. Both of you. Celeste's heart hammered against her ribs. Every rational thought said this was madness. But there was something deeper than rationality screaming at her to run, to choose the unknown over the known, to save her daughter. She ran. Scooped Lily up and ran for the black car, her hands shaking so badly she could barely open the door. She threw herself into the back seat, pulled Lily onto her lap, and wrapped both arms around her daughter like a shield. Through the window, She saw Derek trying to push past Lucien, saw the stranger stop him with nothing more than a hand on his chest. "You should go home." Lucien's voice carried across the parking lot, soft but absolutely clear. "And you should pray we never cross paths again." Derek's response was a string of threats and curses, but he didn't advance. Something in Lucien's stillness, and the promise of violence beneath his calm exterior, kept Derek frozen. Then Lucien was moving toward the car with that same liquid grace, sliding into the driver's seat like he had all the time in the world. He started the engine, pulled out of the parking space with careful precision, and drove away from the restaurant, from Derek, from everything Celeste had known. Inside the car, she held Lily and tried to breathe, tried to think, tried to figure out if she just made the best decision of her life or the worst. And in the driver's seat, Lucien gripped the steering wheel and wondered the same thing. Because in 800 years of existence, he'd never brought humans into his home. He'd never let anyone close enough to matter. And he'd certainly never felt this overwhelming need to protect someone he'd just met. The coldness that had defined his existence for decades was cracking, and he wasn't sure if that terrified or relieved him. The estate appeared through the trees like something from a Gothic novel. Wrought iron gates opened automatically as the car approached, and a long driveway curved through ancient oaks draped in moss. The house itself was sprawling stone and dark wood, windows glowing with warm light against the night. Celeste's breath caught. "This isn't a home. This is a mansion. I told you I was independently wealthy." Lucien pulled into a circular drive and turned off the engine. He sat for a moment, hands still on the wheel, then turned to face her. "Before we go inside, I need to tell you something." Here it comes, Celeste thought. The catch. The price. The thing that would make this rescue turn into another trap. "I'm not entirely human." The words hung in the air between them. Celeste stared at him, waiting for the punchline, the explanation, something that would make that statement make sense. "I don't understand. I'm a vampire." Lucien's voice was matter-of-fact, like he was commenting on the weather. "I've been alive for over 800 years. I don't age. I'm much stronger than humans. And yes, I require blood to survive, though I don't take it from the unwilling and haven't harmed a human in over 2 centuries. Celeste should have laughed. Should have demanded he let them out of the car immediately. Should have recognized this as the moment everything revealed itself to be a delusion or a danger. But she looked into his eyes and saw only truth. And somehow, impossibly, it made sense. The way he'd moved in the restaurant, faster than Derek could track. The intensity of his presence. The sense that he was something other, something ancient, something that didn't quite fit in the normal world. "You're serious." "Completely. Vampires are real." "Yes. And you're one of them." "I'm the king of them, actually. But that's a conversation for another time." Celeste laughed, a slightly hysterical sound that came from somewhere deep in her chest. "I've lost my mind. I've actually lost my mind. I left my husband for a vampire." "He's not your husband. He's your abuser. And you left him for yourself. For her." Lucien glanced at Lily, who had fallen asleep against her mother's shoulder, exhausted by fear and adrenaline. "I just provided the vehicle. Why are you telling me this? Why not just let me think you're eccentric or wealthy or whatever normal explanation I would have invented? Because you'll be staying in my home. You'll see things. And I'd rather have you afraid of the truth than afraid of your own imagination." Lucien's expression was serious. "I'm telling you what I am so you can make an informed choice. If you want to leave, I'll take you to a hotel right now. I'll pay for a month. You'll never see me again. And if we stay, then tomorrow we'll figure out next steps. documentation, legal protection, a restraining order. Whatever you need to build a life where he can't reach you. Celeste looked down at Lily's sleeping face, at the first peaceful expression she'd seen on her daughter in months. You said you don't hurt humans. Not anymore. But you did once. A long time ago, when I was young and angry and believed humans were beneath me. Lucien's voice carried the weight of old shame. I'm not proud of who I was. But I've spent centuries trying to be better than that. Why should I believe you? You shouldn't. Not yet. Belief comes with time. Tonight, I'm just asking you to be tired enough to sleep somewhere safe. And that was the thing that broke through all of Celeste's resistance. She was tired. Bone deep, soul-crushing tired. Tired of being afraid. Tired of calculating every word and movement. Tired of sleeping with one eye open, waiting for the sound of his footsteps in the hallway. One night. Her voice was barely a whisper. One night. Lucien agreed. He got out of the car and opened her door, offering his hand. She hesitated, then took it, letting him help her out while keeping Lily cradled against her shoulder. The inside of the house was even more impressive than the outside. High ceilings. Dark wood paneling. Artwork that looked like it belonged in museums. But it was also warm, lived in, comfortable in a way that surprised her. A woman appeared from one of the side rooms, elderly and human, with kind eyes and an expression that suggested nothing surprised her anymore. She took in Celeste's disheveled appearance and sleeping child without comment. Mrs. Chin, we have guests. Could you prepare the east wing? 2 bedrooms, connected. And perhaps some food? Of course, Master Lucien. The woman's voice was gentle. The young one looks like she could use some warm milk and cookies when she wakes. Thank you. Mrs. Chen disappeared down a hallway, and Lucien gestured toward a sitting room. She'll have everything ready in a few minutes. Would you like to sit? Celeste followed him into the room and settled onto a leather sofa, adjusting Lily's weight. The child stirred but didn't wake. You have human staff. I have one human staff member who's been with me for 30 years and knows exactly what I am. Lucien sat in the chair across from her, careful to maintain distance. She came to me fleeing a similar situation to yours, actually. I offered her safety and employment. She chose to stay. For 30 years? Some people find peace here. Lucien's expression was unreadable. Isolation can be its own kind of sanctuary. Is that why you live like this? Isolated? I live like this because connection has become difficult over the centuries. Everyone I've ever cared about has aged and died. After a while, you stop trying to build bridges you know will burn. That sounds lonely. It is. The admission seemed to surprise him as much as it surprised her. But it's also safe. You can't lose what you never let yourself have. Celeste studied him, this ancient creature who'd saved her and her daughter, who admitted to loneliness like it was a simple fact, who'd built walls around himself just like she had, only his had centuries to calcify. I know something about that. Making yourself small so you can survive. Yes. I imagine you do. For a moment, they just looked at each other, two damaged people recognizing the wounds in someone else. Lily stirred and opened her eyes, confused and disoriented. Mama? Where are we? We're safe, baby. We're at Lucien's house. Remember? The man from the restaurant? Lily sat up and looked around, taking in the beautiful room, the high ceilings, the fire crackling in the fireplace. Then she looked at Lucien. Are you really a vampire? Celeste's eyes went wide. Lily, that's not. It's all right. Lucien leaned forward slightly. You heard that? I wasn't really sleeping. Just pretending. Lily's voice was matter of fact. So are you? I am. Do you bite people? Not people who don't want to be bitten. Do you turn into a bat? No. That's a myth. Do you sleep in a coffin? I sleep in a bed like anyone else, though I don't need as much sleep as humans. Can you fly? No. That's disappointing. Lily tilted her head, considering. But you're still really strong? Very. Strong enough to keep him away? Even if he finds us? Lucien's expression softened into something fierce and protective. Strong enough that he'll never touch either of you again. I promise. Lily studied him for a long moment, then nodded, apparently satisfied. Okay. I like you. Despite everything, despite the tension and fear and impossibility of the situation, Celeste felt tears burning in her eyes. Her daughter, who'd learned to be afraid of men, who flinched at raised voices and sudden movements, had just declared her approval of a vampire king. Mrs. Chen appeared in the doorway. The rooms are ready. And I've brought some food. She wheeled in a cart laden with sandwiches, fruit, cookies, and a tall glass of milk. Lily's eyes went wide. Can I really have some? The question, so small and tentative, revealed everything about how she'd been living. Asking permission to eat. Afraid to take up space even in hunger. You can have whatever you want, sweetheart. Celeste's voice broke slightly. Lucien stood. I'll leave you to eat and rest. Your rooms are at the top of the stairs, third door on the right. They connect through a shared bathroom. There are locks on both doors. Use them if it makes you feel safer. You're not going to eat? Lily asked. I ate at the restaurant. Remember? But you didn't. I watched. You didn't take a single bite. Lucien smiled, a real smile that transformed his entire face. You're very observant. My mama says I notice everything. Then you probably also noticed I'm trying very hard not to overwhelm you both. So I'm going to my study, and I'm going to let you have space. If you need anything, Mrs. Chen will be down the hall. In the morning, we'll talk about what comes next. He moved toward the door, then paused. Celeste. She looked up. You were brave tonight. Braver than you know. Then he was gone, leaving her alone with her daughter and the first meal she'd eaten without fear in 2 years. Celeste watched Lily devour cookies and milk, and for the first time since she'd married Derek, she let herself think about tomorrow without dread. You know, right now I'm wondering what you would have done in Celeste's position. Would you have gotten in that car with a stranger? Would you have trusted your instincts? I want to know, where are you watching this from? Drop your city or country in the comments because I genuinely love knowing where our community is enjoying these stories. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join the fastest growing vampire love stories community on YouTube. We have so many incredible stories planned, and trust me, you're special and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Morning came with soft light filtering through curtains Celeste didn't remember closing. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then the events of the previous night crashed back, and she sat up quickly, heart racing. Lily was still asleep in the connecting room, curled around a stuffed bear that Mrs. Chen must have left. Safe. Breathing. Unhurt. They'd really done it. They'd really left. Celeste found clothes laid out on a chair, simple but good quality, in exactly her size. There was a note in elegant handwriting. For your comfort. No obligation. Mrs. Chen. She showered for the first time without listening for footsteps, without rushing, without fear. The water was hot and the bathroom was enormous, and when she finally emerged, she felt almost human again. Lily woke shortly after, delighted by her own room, her own space, the promise of breakfast without tension. They made their way downstairs following the smell of coffee and found Mrs. Chen in a kitchen that was somehow both modern and timeless. "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" "Better than I have in years." Celeste accepted the coffee gratefully. "Thank you for the clothes. Master Lucien had them delivered early this morning. He's very efficient when he wants to be." Mrs. Chen smiled. "He's in his study if you'd like to speak with him. Or you're welcome to eat first." "Where's his study?" "Down the main hall, last door on the left." "Don't worry about disturbing him. He's been awake all night making arrangements." "Arrangements?" "You'll want to hear it from him." Celeste settled Lily with pancakes and cartoons, something Derek had never allowed, then made her way through the house. She found the study door partially open and knocked softly. "Come in." Lucien sat behind a massive desk covered in papers and what looked like legal documents. He changed clothes, looked tired in a way that seemed odd for someone who claimed not to need much sleep. "Did you sleep at all?" she asked. "No. I've been working." He gestured to the papers. "I have lawyers on retainer. I've had them drawing up documents. A restraining order against Derek. Divorce papers. I also have a property available, a small house on the north side of town, if you'd prefer your own space. It's furnished. Paid for. Yours if you want it." Celeste felt her throat tighten. "You did all that in one night?" "I told you. I'm efficient when motivated." "Why?" The question burst out before she could stop it. "Why are you doing all this for strangers?" Lucien was quiet for a long moment. He stood and walked to the window, looking out over the estate grounds. "May I tell you a story?" "Okay. 800 years ago, I was human. I had a family. A wife. A daughter about Lily's age. We lived in a small village, and I thought I was happy. Then one winter, there was a man. Powerful. Cruel. He decided he wanted what was mine, wanted my wife, and in that time, men like him took what they wanted." Celeste's heart clenched. "I tried to stop him. I wasn't strong enough. He killed me. Left me broken in the snow. I should have died. Would have died. But a vampire found me, one of the old ones, and she offered me a choice. Die human and helpless, or live as something that could never be overpowered again. You chose vampire. I chose revenge." Lucien's voice was flat. "She turned me. I went back. I killed him. Killed everyone who'd stood by and watched. I was a monster, truly, for the first century of my existence. Angry and violent and convinced that humanity was weak and deserving of predation. What changed? I found my daughter's grave. She died of fever the winter after I'd been killed. My wife had died shortly after, grief-stricken and alone. And I realized I'd spent 100 years becoming exactly like the man who'd destroyed my family. Cruel. Taking what I wanted. Justifying it because I could." Celeste moved closer. "I'm sorry. I've had 700 years to make peace with it." Lucien turned to face her. "But last night, when I saw that little girl's fear, when I heard him threaten you both, I saw my daughter. My wife. I saw everything I'd failed to protect. And I physically couldn't sit there and do nothing. So this is about your family. About guilt. Maybe partly. But it's also about you. About her. About the fact that you deserve better and I have the power to offer it. His dark eyes met hers. I've lived in isolation for so long. Convinced myself I was past feeling anything. Then you walked into that restaurant, and I remembered what it felt like to care whether someone lived or died. That's a lot of weight to put on strangers. You're not strangers anymore. Something in his voice made her shiver. The moment you got in my car, the moment you trusted me with your daughter's safety, you became my responsibility. And I don't take that lightly. I'm not your responsibility. I'm just someone you helped. Celeste, I'm 800 years old. I've seen empires rise and fall. I've watched centuries pass without feeling more than vague interest. Then I spend 1 hour with you and your daughter and suddenly I'm making calls at 3 in the morning, liquidating assets to buy you a house, researching family law in a legal system that's changed 5 times since I was human. He laughed, a sound without humor. You've already changed me, whether you intended to or not. I don't know what to do with that. You don't have to do anything with it. I'm not asking for gratitude or obligation. I'm just trying to be honest about why I'm helping. It's not entirely altruistic. It's also selfish. Because for the first time in decades, I feel like I matter. Like what I do makes a difference to someone. You matter to Lily. She asked me this morning if you were really going to keep us safe. What did you tell her? That I thought you would. That I believed you. Do you believe me? Celeste considered the question seriously. I don't know you well enough to believe in you completely. But I believe you mean what you say. I believe you're trying to help. And right now, that's enough. Lucien nodded slowly. That's fair. Can I ask you something? Anything. Are you lonely? The question clearly caught him off guard. His careful composure cracked slightly. Yes. I'm desperately, crushingly lonely. I have been for a very long time. Me too. Celeste's voice was barely a whisper. Even in my marriage. Especially in my marriage. I was lonelier with him than I'd ever been alone. Then perhaps we can be less lonely together. Just for a while. Until you're ready to leave. What if I'm never ready to leave? The question hung between them, heavy with implication. Lucien stared at her, and she saw something flicker in his eyes, hope maybe, or fear, or something that looked like longing. Then I would spend every day trying to be worthy of your staying. Before Celeste could respond, Lily's voice rang out from down the hall. Mama. Mrs. Chen says there's a library with 1,000 books. Can I see? The moment broke, but the connection remained. Go. Lucien's voice was rough. Explore. This house is yours for as long as you want it. Celeste turned to leave, then paused at the door. Lucien? Yes. Thank you. For telling me about your family. About who you were. Who I was is the worst version of me. I'm trying very hard to be better. I think you already are. She left before she could see the way his expression transformed, the way hope bloomed across his ancient face like spring after a long winter. 3 days passed like a dream Celeste was afraid to wake from. The house became familiar. Lily's laughter returned, tentative at first, then genuine. She spent hours in the library with books spread around her like treasures, or in the garden with Mrs. Chen learning the names of flowers. At night, she slept without nightmares. And Celeste found herself seeking out Lucien's company. It started accidentally. She'd wander into the study to ask a question and stay to talk. He'd join them for dinner, not eating but present, telling stories that made Lily's eyes go wide with wonder. Stories about ancient Rome, about sailing ships and gas lamps, about a world that existed before electricity. On the fourth night, after Lily had gone to bed, Celeste found him on the terrace overlooking the gardens. The moon was full, casting silver light across the grounds. "Can't sleep?" he asked without turning. "Too much to think about." She joined him at the railing. "The lawyers called today. Derek signed the restraining order. Didn't even fight it. He's a coward. Bullies usually are when faced with real consequences." "Your consequences, you mean?" Celeste glanced at him. "What exactly did you say to him in that parking lot?" I reminded him that the world is larger and more dangerous than he understood. That there are things that go bump in the night, and some of them take a very dim view of men who hurt children. "You threatened him." "I promised him." "There's a difference." Lucien's voice was calm. "He won't come near you again. I've made certain of that." "How?" "Let's just say I have resources and leave it at that." He met her eyes. "Are you angry?" "I should be. I should tell you I can fight my own battles." She paused. "But honestly, I'm just relieved. I'm so tired of being afraid." "Then don't be. Not here. Not with me." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, then Celeste laughed softly. "What?" "I was just thinking about how insane this is. A week ago, my biggest concern was keeping Derek calm through dinner. Now I'm living in a mansion with a vampire king, and somehow that feels more normal than my actual marriage did. Perhaps that says something about your marriage. Or about how broken my sense of normal became." She turned to face him fully. "Can I ask you something personal?" "You can ask me anything." "The woman who turned you. The vampire. What happened to her?" Lucien's expression grew distant. "Mariana. She stayed with me for 50 years, trying to teach me control, trying to help me pass the rage. Eventually, she gave up. Said I was too angry to save. She was probably right. But you changed anyway. It took time. And pain. And a lot of mistakes." He was quiet for a moment. "She died about 200 years ago. Vampire hunters. I wasn't there. By the time I heard, it was too late. I'm sorry." "So am I. She deserved better than me as her legacy. You've spent 700 years trying to be better. That's not nothing. It's not enough. Maybe enough isn't the point. Maybe trying is." Lucien looked at her, really looked, and something shifted in his expression. "When did you become wise?" "Somewhere between rock bottom and here." Celeste smiled. "Pain teaches you things, I guess." "What has it taught you?" "That safety is precious. That my daughter's happiness matters more than my pride. That sometimes strength looks like asking for help." She paused. "That maybe, possibly, I deserve something better than what I settled for." "You deserve everything you settled for and more." The intensity in his voice made her breath catch. "Lucien." "Celeste, I need to tell you something." Her heart started racing. "Okay. These past few days, having you here, having Lily filling this house with life and laughter, it's been," he struggled for words. "I haven't felt this human in centuries. And it terrifies me." "Why?" "Because everyone I've ever cared about has left. By death or choice or the simple passage of time. I've built a life around not needing anyone. And then you appeared and dismantled 800 years of emotional walls in less than a week. I didn't mean to. I know. That's what makes it worse. You weren't trying. You were just surviving, being yourself, being kind despite everything you've endured. And I'm standing here realizing I'm in danger of something I swore I'd never allow again. What's that? Caring. Hoping. Wanting something I can't control and can't keep. Who says you can't keep it? Celeste. His voice was rough. You're human. You're mortal. Even if you stayed, even if this became something, I would watch you age and die. I've done that before. I won't put myself through that again. So what are you saying? That we should keep our distance? I'm saying I don't know what I'm saying. I'm 800 years old and I'm confused, like I'm human again, like I'm 20 and helpless and feeling things I don't have names for. Celeste stepped closer. I'm scared too. I just left an abusive marriage. I have a daughter to protect. The last thing I should be doing is developing feelings for someone, especially someone who isn't even human. But you are. Developing feelings. It wasn't a question, but she answered anyway. Yes. The word hung in the air between them. Lucien reached out slowly, giving her every chance to pull away, and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. His fingers were cool against her skin. This is foolish. Completely. It will end in pain. Probably. I should send you away. To the house I bought. Give you space and distance and let you build a life without complications. You should. She didn't move. Are you going to? I don't think I can. Then don't. He cupped her face in his hands, gentle despite the strength she knew he possessed. If we do this, if we try this, you need to understand what you're getting into. I'm not human. I can't give you a normal life. There are dangers, politics, a whole world you don't know exists. I lived with danger every day in my marriage. At least with you, I know you won't hurt me. How can you be so sure? Because you've had 100 opportunities and you've chosen kindness every time. Because my daughter feels safe with you, and she has good instincts about people. Because I see the way you look at us, like we're precious, like we matter. You do matter. You matter more than anything has mattered in a very long time. Then stop talking about why this won't work and just, she breathed. Just be here. With me. Right now. Lucien leaned in slowly, giving her every chance to change her mind, and pressed his forehead to hers. His eyes closed. I'm terrified. Me too. What if I'm not what you need? What if you are? They stood there, breathing the same air, balanced on the edge of something that felt like falling and flying at the same time. Then Lily's voice drifted from upstairs. Mama? I had a bad dream. The spell broke. Celeste stepped back, already moving toward the door. I should go. Celeste. She turned back. This conversation isn't over. I know. She found Lily sitting up in bed, tears on her cheeks. The child reached for her immediately, and Celeste gathered her close. I dreamed he found us. That he took us back. He won't. Lucien's here. Mrs. Chen is here. We're safe. Promise? I promise. Lily was quiet for a moment, then, Mama, do you like Lucien? The question caught her off guard. Why do you ask? Because you smile more when he's around. And he smiles more when you're around. You're both happier. Out of the mouths of babes. Celeste kissed her daughter's forehead. Yes, sweetheart. I like him. Good. I like him too. He's kind. And he makes you not scared anymore. He does, doesn't he? Do you think we could stay here? Not just for a little while, but for real? Celeste thought about Lucien's hands on her face, his confession of fear and hope, the way he looked at her like she was something precious. Maybe. Would you want that? Yes. Lily's voice was certain in the way only children can be. This feels like home. He feels like family. And sometimes, Celeste thought, children saw truth more clearly than adults ever could. 1 week became 2. The restraining order was filed. Divorce papers were served. Celeste started sleeping through the night without startling awake at every sound. And she and Lucien circled each other like magnets, drawn together and terrified in equal measure. Then Derek's lawyer called. Celeste took the call in Lucien's study, with him present at her request. She listened, her face going pale, her hands starting to shake. No, that's not, he can't. Her voice rose. She's my daughter. He has no rights to her. Lucien was at her side immediately, steadying her with a hand on her shoulder. What is it? He asked when she ended the call. Derek is filing for custody of Lily. Celeste's voice was hollow with shock. He's claiming I'm an unfit mother. That I abandoned our home, that I'm living with a strange man, that Lily isn't in a stable environment. He's stalling. Trying to maintain control. It's working. The hearing is in 3 days. If the judge thinks there's any merit to his claims, they could remove her from my custody temporarily. Could make me go back, or put her in foster care while they investigate. That won't happen. You don't know that. Celeste pulled away from him, panic rising. This is exactly what I was afraid of. That leaving would make things worse. That trying to protect her would give him ammunition. So you're going to let fear send you back to him? No, she pressed her hands to her face. I don't know what to do. I can't lose her. She's everything. You won't lose her. You can't promise that. Lucien was quiet for a moment, then, what if you weren't living with a strange man? What if you were living with your husband? What are you talking about? Marry me. The words landed like a bomb. Celeste stared at him. What? Marry me. Tonight. I have connections, I can make it happen. Then you're not a single mother living with a stranger. You're a married woman with a wealthy husband who can provide stability. That's insane. Is it more insane than letting him take your daughter? You can't just marry someone to win a custody hearing. People have married for worse reasons. Lucien's voice was calm but urgent. Listen to me. I have resources. Lawyers. Money. Respectability, at least on paper. If we're married, his case falls apart. You're not unstable, you're not living in sin, you're not any of the things he'll try to claim. But it's not real. We barely know each other. Something flickered in Lucien's eyes. Is it not real? That's not, I mean. Celeste stumbled over the words. You're talking about a legal marriage. A real marriage. I'm talking about protecting your daughter. Everything else we can figure out as we go. This is too much. You've already done too much. There's no such thing as too much when it comes to keeping a child safe from an abuser. Celeste felt tears burning. Why? Why would you do this? Because I love her. The words came out raw and honest. I love the sound of her laughter in the hallways. I love the way she argues about which book to read next. I love that she asks me questions about history like I'm a living encyclopedia, which I suppose I am. And because he stopped, swallowed hard. Because I love you. I think I've loved you since you got in my car, terrified and brave and determined to save your daughter no matter the cost. Lucien. You don't have to say it back. You don't have to feel the same way. But let me do this. Let me protect you both the only way I know how. By tying yourself legally to a human you've known for 2 weeks? I've lived 800 years. I know my own mind. And I know that I would rather spend whatever time you have being your husband than spend eternity wondering if I could have saved you and chose not to. Celeste felt her carefully constructed walls crumbling. This is crazy. Most of the best things are. What if it doesn't work? What if we get married and the judge still sides with him? Then at least we tried. At least we didn't let fear make our decisions. And after? When the custody is settled? Then you decide if you want to stay married to a vampire or if you want an annulment. Your choice. No pressure. No obligation. You're really offering to marry me, a woman you barely know, to help me keep my daughter. I'm offering to marry the woman I love to protect the family I never thought I'd have again. The confession undid her. Celeste crossed the space between them and kissed him. It was desperate and grateful and terrified and hopeful all at once. Lucien's arms came around her, holding her like she was precious, like she might disappear. When they broke apart, she was crying. Okay. Okay? Yes. I'll marry you. Relief flooded his features. I'll make the arrangements. Lucien. Yes. I love you too. I think I have since you promised Lily she'd be safe and actually meant it. Then we'll face this together. But they didn't know that Derek had other plans. That night, while Celeste slept, there was a knock at the estate door. Mrs. Chen answered it to find police officers with a warrant. An anonymous tip claimed child endangerment. Claimed Lily was being held in an unsafe environment by unlicensed caregivers. By the time Lucien made it downstairs, they were already in Lily's room. The child was screaming, reaching for Celeste, who was being restrained by an officer while another carried her daughter toward the door. No. Please, she's scared. Celeste, you can't take her. Ma'am, we have a court order. We need you to calm down. Lucien appeared in the hallway, and his presence was enough to make the officers hesitate. There's been a mistake. Sir, we need you to step aside. Everything in Lucien's body screamed to stop this, to use his strength, his speed, his power. But he couldn't. Not without revealing what he was. Not without making everything infinitely worse. He locked eyes with Celeste and saw her breaking. Please. Her voice cracked. Please don't take my baby. But they did. They took Lily, screaming and crying and calling for her mother, and put her in a car and drove away. And Celeste collapsed on the floor of the hallway, sobbing like something inside her had shattered. Lucien knelt beside her, gathering her into his arms, and for the first time in 800 years, he felt completely, utterly helpless. I'm sorry. His voice was broken. I'm so sorry. I promised you'd be safe. I promised. But promises, they both learned, sometimes break against the cruelty of systems and laws and men who use both as weapons. I need to pause here for a moment because my heart is breaking for Celeste and Lily. Have you ever felt that helpless? That powerless against a system that's supposed to protect but sometimes fails? Drop a comment and let me know what you think Lucien should do next. And if you're feeling this story as deeply as I am, make sure you're subscribed because this family, our community, we're in this together. You won't want to miss how this resolves. Trust me. The next 48 hours were a nightmare of phone calls and lawyers and bureaucracy that moved at a glacial pace while Celeste's heart shattered in real time. Lily had been placed in emergency foster care pending an investigation. Celeste was allowed one supervised call per day. Each time, Lily begged to come home, and each time, Celeste had to lie and say soon, baby, soon, while dying inside. Lucien watched her fracture. Watched her stop eating, stop sleeping, stop being anything except grief in human form. He called in every favor he had. Contacted lawyers who specialized in family law. Used his connections to push the hearing forward. But even with all his power and resources, he couldn't make the system move faster. On the second night, he found her in Lily's empty room, holding the stuffed bear, staring at nothing. Celeste. She didn't respond. Celeste, please. You need to eat something. I can't. You'll make yourself sick. I don't care. Lily needs you strong for the hearing tomorrow. That broke through. She looked at him with hollow eyes. What if it's not enough? What if they don't believe me? What if they give him custody? They won't. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. She stood abruptly, pacing. I should never have left. I should have stayed and endured it and kept her close. At least then she'd be with me. And traumatized. And learning that love looks like violence. She's 6 years old and sleeping in a stranger's house, crying herself to sleep without her mother. How is that better? Because it's temporary. What he was doing to you both was forever. You promised. Celeste's voice rose. You promised she'd be safe. You promised he'd never hurt us again. And he hasn't. This is the system, broken as it is. Not him. He called them. He's the anonymous tip. He's weaponizing the law to punish me for leaving. I know. Lucien's control was fraying. And if I could tear him apart without consequences, I would. But I can't. So instead I'm doing everything in my power within the bounds of human law to fix this. It's not enough. Then tell me what would be enough. Tell me what you need. I need my daughter. The scream tore out of her. I need Lily. I need her safe and happy in here, not terrified in some foster home wondering why her mother abandoned her. You didn't abandon her. Try telling her that. She's 6. All she knows is I'm not there. Celeste collapsed onto the bed, sobbing, and Lucien felt his own composure break. He'd lived through wars, plagues, the deaths of everyone he'd ever loved. But watching her pain and being unable to fix it was a special kind of torture. He sat beside her carefully. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I couldn't stop this. I know you tried. Her voice was muffled. I know you're doing everything you can. If I could give you anything, make any of this easier, I would. I know. They sat in silence broken only by her tears. Then Lucien spoke quietly. There is one thing I could do. One option I haven't offered because it's permanent and irreversible and not something to be entered into lightly. Celeste looked up. What? I could turn you. Make you vampire. The words hung heavy in the air. If you were vampire, you'd have resources, power, centuries to be with your daughter. You'd be stronger than Derek, stronger than the system. You could protect her in ways you can't as a human. Celeste stared at him. You're serious. I've never been more serious about anything. But Celeste, you need to understand what you'd be giving up. Your humanity. The ability to age naturally. Sunlight, eventually. Your relationship with mortality itself changes. It's not a small thing. Would I still be me? Yes. Your personality, your memories, your love for Lily, all of that remains. You'd just be stronger, faster, immortal. And the cost? Blood. You'd need it to survive. I can teach you control, how to feed without harming. But the hunger is real and constant, especially at first. Celeste was quiet for a long moment. If I did this, if I became vampire, would it help with the custody case? No. Lucien's honesty was brutal. If anything, it would complicate it. You'd have to hide what you are. But long term, you'd have the power to ensure no one ever takes her from you again. I don't know if I can make that decision right now. My head isn't clear. I'm not asking you to decide now. I'm just offering it as an option. Something to consider. Why would you do that? Turn me? Because immortality is bearable with someone to share it with. And because I'm selfish enough to want you to stay. Even if it means changing everything I am, you'd still be you. Just more. Celeste looked at him, really looked, and saw the hope and fear warring in his ancient eyes. You really love me. Desperately. I never thought I'd love again. After Derek, after everything, I thought that part of me was broken forever. And now? Now I think maybe broken things can be repaired. That maybe love isn't about being perfect, it's about being willing to try. Lucien cupped her face. Tomorrow we go to court. We fight for Lily. We win or we lose. But regardless, I'm here. I'm not leaving. I'm not giving up. Promise? I promise. She kissed him then, soft and desperate, pouring all her fear and hope into the contact. When they broke apart, she whispered, "Ask me again. After the hearing. When my daughter is back in my arms. Ask me about becoming vampire. And if you say yes, then we'll figure it out. Together. Together." He liked the sound of that. Loved the implication of a future, of time, of shared eternities. That night, Celeste slept in Lucien's room, wrapped in his arms, drawing strength from his presence. And Lucien stayed awake, holding her, making silent promises to every god he'd stopped believing in centuries ago. Please. Let us win tomorrow. Let me keep them. Let me have this one thing. In the darkness before dawn, he made a decision. If the judge ruled against Celeste, if they tried to give Lily to Derek, Lucien would reveal himself. Would use his power and influence and the full weight of his status as vampire king to obliterate Derek's case, his credibility, his entire existence if necessary. The human world had rules. But so did the vampire world. And in his world, he was law. He would protect his family. No matter the cost. The courtroom was smaller than Celeste expected. Sterile. Cold. Derek sat on one side with his lawyer, looking like a concerned stepfather, playing the part perfectly. It made her sick. Lucien sat directly behind her, a silent presence of strength. He'd wanted to sit beside her, but the optics mattered. Concerned friend was safer than intense boyfriend in front of a judge evaluating her stability. The hearing began. Derek's lawyer painted a picture of a woman who'd abandoned her home in the middle of the night, taken her child to live with a strange man, provided no stability or consistency. They made Celeste sound reckless. Dangerous. Then it was their turn. Celeste's lawyer presented the restraining order. The documented history of Derek's verbal abuse, witnesses from the restaurant who'd heard his threat. Medical records showing Lily's anxiety, her fear responses, the psychological impact of living in that environment. Then Celeste took the stand. She told the truth. All of it. The walking on eggshells. The fear that permeated every moment. The night in the restaurant when she'd finally understood that staying would destroy them both. Your Honor, I'm not perfect. My voice shook but held. I made mistakes. I stayed too long. I convinced myself I was protecting my daughter by keeping our family together, but I was really just teaching her that love looks like fear. When I finally left, yes, it was sudden. Yes, I didn't have a plan. But I had a 6-year-old daughter who was terrified to go home, and a stranger offered us safety when no one else did. And this stranger, the judge looked at her notes, Mr. Lucien Thorne. You're in a relationship with him? I am. After 2 weeks? After 2 weeks of being treated with kindness. Of watching my daughter laugh again. Of remembering what it feels like to not be afraid. She met the judge's eyes. I know how it looks. But love doesn't follow a timeline. Sometimes it comes when you most need it. The judge looked at Lucien. Mr. Thorne, please approach. Lucien stood and moved to the front with that impossible grace. Even in a courtroom, he commanded attention. You're willing to take on a woman with a child in a complicated custody situation? I'm willing to build a family with a woman I love and a child I've come to care for deeply. Lucien's voice was steady. I have the resources to provide stability, the home to provide safety, and the commitment to be present for whatever they need. You understand this is highly unusual? I understand that sometimes unconventional situations produce the strongest families. I lost my family a long time ago. I never thought I'd have another chance at this. I'm not going to waste it by being cautious. The judge was quiet for a long moment, reviewing documents. Then she looked at Derek. Mr. Morrison, you filed for custody of a child who isn't biologically yours, who you've known for 2 years, claiming concern for her welfare. That's correct, Your Honor. Yet there are multiple witnesses who heard you threaten both her and her mother in a public place. The judge's voice cooled. There are documented instances of verbal abuse. And your ex-wife has a restraining order against you that you've already violated twice by filing these motions. I have a right to. You have no rights to this child. The judge's words landed like a gavel. You're a step-parent with a history of threatening behavior. Ms. Celeste has full custody. She left an abusive situation to protect her daughter. That's not abandonment, Mr. Morrison. That's good parenting. Derek's face went red. You can't. I can and I am. This case is dismissed. Full custody remains with the mother. And Mr. Morrison, if you continue to harass this family, I'll see you charged with stalking. Are we clear? Derek looked like he wanted to explode, but his lawyer grabbed his arm, whispering urgently. The judge turned to Celeste. Your daughter will be returned to you today. I'm ordering a follow-up evaluation in 3 months to ensure stability, but based on what I've seen, I have no concerns about your ability to parent. Celeste couldn't breathe. Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care of that little girl, Ms. Celeste. And be happy. You've earned it. The gavel came down, and it was over. Celeste turned and fell into Lucien's arms, sobbing with relief. He held her tight, his own eyes suspiciously bright. You did it. His voice was rough. You got her back. We did it. She pulled back to look at him. I couldn't have done this without you. Outside the courtroom, Derek tried one last time. This isn't over. You think you can just... Lucien moved between them so fast it seemed like teleportation. He leaned close to Derek and spoke too quietly for anyone else to hear, but his words made Derek's face go white. "If you ever speak to her again, if you ever even think about her or that child, I will find you. And I will show you exactly what monsters look like when you threaten their family. This is the only warning you'll receive." Whatever Derek saw in Lucien's eyes made him stumble backward. He left without another word, and Celeste knew with absolute certainty that they'd never see him again. 2 hours later, she held Lily again. The child ran to her in the foster care office, crashing into her arms with enough force to knock her back a step. "Mama. Mama, I knew you'd come. Always, baby. Always." Celeste buried her face in her daughter's hair, breathing her in. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you were scared. Are we going home? To Lucien's house?" "Yes. We're going home." Lily pulled back, her small face serious. "Is he going to stay? Is he going to be our family for real?" Celeste looked at Lucien, who was watching them with an expression of such love and longing it made her heart ache. "If he wants to be, I want to be." Lucien knelt down to Lily's level. "If you'll have me." Lily threw her arms around his neck. "You're the best almost dad ever." Over her head, Lucien met Celeste's eyes. "Almost dad?" Celeste smiled. "Well, you did propose. We never actually followed through. We could fix that." "Are you asking again?" "I'm asking every day until you give me a final answer." That night, after Lily was asleep in her own bed, surrounded by her own things, finally home, Celeste found Lucien on the terrace where this had all really started. "Ask me." He turned. "Ask you what?" "Both things. Marriage. Eternity. All of it. Celeste." He pulled her close. "You don't have to decide tonight." "I know. But I want to." She looked up at him. "I spent 2 years making myself smaller, quieter, less. Convincing myself I didn't deserve better. Then you showed me what it looks like when someone loves you without conditions. When someone protects you without expecting something in return. When someone sees you at your worst and stays anyway. You did the same for me. I was alone for decades because I was afraid to feel anything. You reminded me what it means to be alive. So ask me." Lucien took her hands. "Celeste, will you marry me? Not for a custody hearing or legal protection, but because I love you and I want to spend whatever time we have together?" "Yes." "And will you consider eternity? No pressure, no timeline, but will you think about becoming vampire? About staying with me not just for your lifetime, but for centuries?" Celeste thought about Lily growing up safe and protected. Thought about having the power to ensure no one ever hurt her again. Thought about eternity with the man who'd saved them both. "Ask me again on our wedding day. If I still feel the same way I do right now, then yes. I'll become vampire. I'll choose forever." Lucien kissed her then, soft and deep and full of promise. When they broke apart, he was smiling. "When should we get married?" "Soon." She grinned. "I've learned life is too short to wait for happiness. Even when happiness comes with fangs? Especially then." 3 months later, Celeste stood in a garden full of night-blooming flowers, wearing a simple white dress, holding Lily's hand. Mrs. Chen stood as witness, tears in her eyes. And Lucien waited at the end of the aisle, looking at her like she was everything he'd ever wanted. The ceremony was small. Intimate. Perfect. When the officiant said you may kiss your bride, Lucien pulled her close and whispered, "Are you sure? About the kiss or about eternity?" "Both. I've never been more sure of anything." He kissed her as the sun set, and Celeste felt something click into place. This was home. This was family. This was love without fear, protection without possession, safety without surrender. That night, after Lily was asleep, Celeste made her choice. "Turn me. Are you certain? I want forever. With you. With her. I want the power to protect my family and the time to build something beautiful. It will hurt. I've survived worse." So Lucien turned her. And it did hurt, a burning that felt like dying and being reborn at once. But when she woke 3 days later, stronger and faster and more than she'd been, the first thing she saw was Lucien's face. "Welcome to eternity, Mrs. Thorne." The second thing she saw was Lily, who'd been told the truth carefully, who'd accepted it with a child's easy acceptance of magic. "Mama, your eyes are different." "I know, baby. Is that okay? Are you still you?" "Always." "Then it's okay." Lily climbed onto the bed and curled against her. "You're just you but stronger. Like a superhero." Celeste laughed and pulled her daughter close, marveling at her new strength, her new senses, the way she could hear Lily's heartbeat and Lucien's lack of one and love them both equally. 1 year later, the house that had been empty for decades was full of life. Lily's laughter in the library. Celeste's art supplies spread across the sunroom. Family dinners where Mrs. Chen pretended not to notice that only one of them actually ate. Lucien stood in his study, the same place he'd made frantic phone calls to save them, and marveled at how completely his life had changed. Celeste appeared in the doorway. "Lily wants to know if we can get a dog." "A dog?" "She says every family needs a dog. And maybe a cat. And possibly a rabbit. She's very persuasive. She gets it from her mother." Celeste crossed to him and wrapped her arms around his waist. "Are you happy?" "Deliriously. Impossibly. I spent 800 years alone and now I can't remember why I thought isolation was safer than this. Because this requires vulnerability. And vulnerability requires courage. Which you had. You had it that night in the restaurant when you intervened. You had it when you offered us your home. You had it when you loved us even though you were terrified. So did you. Leaving took more courage than staying. We're both brave, then. We're both lucky." Lily's voice called from the garden. "Mama. Lucien. Come see the moon." They went. Together. A family forged from broken pieces and impossible choices and love that refused to follow any rules. That night, as Celeste stood in the garden with her daughter and her husband, she thought about the woman she'd been a year ago. Terrified. Trapped. Convinced she didn't deserve better. And she thought about the woman she was now. Strong. Free. Loved. Sometimes salvation came from the most unexpected places. Sometimes it had fangs and lived in a mansion and promised forever. And sometimes, if you were brave enough to reach for it, forever reached back. Lily grabbed both their hands. "I love our family." Lucien looked at Celeste over their daughter's head, and his smile was pure joy. "So do I." "Me too," Celeste whispered. "Me too." And in that moment, standing in a garden under the stars, a vampire king who'd forgotten how to feel and a woman who'd forgotten how to hope and a little girl who'd been terrified of going home all found exactly what they'd been missing. Each other. And that's where we leave them. A family built from ashes, stronger than anything that tried to break them. Now I want to hear from you. What part of this story touched your heart the most? Was it Lucien's transformation from isolated king to devoted father? Celeste's courage to leave and start over? Or Lily's innocent wisdom seeing the good in people? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and tell me where in the world you're watching from. Seriously, I love knowing where our community is, what countries, what cities. You're all part of this family now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and join the fastest growing vampire love stories community on YouTube. We have so many incredible stories planned, stories of love and redemption, of darkness finding light, of broken souls becoming whole. You're special, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, remember that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is accept help. Sometimes strength looks like vulnerability. And sometimes love finds you exactly when you stop looking for it. I'll see you in the next story.